You are so careless and useless. Clean it up and be fast about it.
The day Precious ordered an elderly maid to kneel down and clean the juice she had deliberately poured on the floor, she had no idea she was humiliating the owner of the mansion. She didn't know the woman wearing the faded brown dress and cheap headscarf was Mrs. Evelyn Eze. She didn't know Evelyn was one of the wealthiest widows in Lagos, and most importantly, she didn't know the woman she was treating like she was worthless was the mother of the man she desperately wanted to marry. Precious believed she was only a maid, a poor woman who could do nothing for her. So Precious showed her exactly who she really was, and by the time she discovered the truth, Peter already had an engagement ring in his pocket. But instead of leaving that house with a ring on her finger, Precious would leave with her luggage in her hands. It all began 3 weeks earlier. Mrs. Evelyn Eze had spent most of her adult life surrounded by wealth, but wealth had never impressed her. Her late husband, Chief Martins Eze, had built one of the most successful construction and real estate businesses in Lagos. By the time Chief Martins died 6 years earlier, the Eze family owned several properties in Lagos and Abuja, investments in hospitality, commercial buildings, and other businesses. His death devastated Evelyn. They had been married for more than 30 years. But if there was one person who helped her survive the loss, it was their only son, Peter. Peter Eze was 33, handsome, intelligent, and successful in his own right. Rather than simply living from his father's wealth, Peter had established his own property development company. Evelyn was proud of him, but there was one thing she worried about. Peter loved deeply, sometimes too deeply. When he trusted someone, he rarely questioned their intentions. So when Peter called one evening and told his mother he had finally met the woman he wanted to marry, Evelyn was happy for him. Her name was Precious. She was 28, beautiful, educated, and sophisticated. She worked as a brand consultant in Lagos and carried herself with confidence. Peter had been dating her for almost 1 year. According to him, Precious was everything he wanted: smart, ambitious, supportive, and loving. Evelyn wanted to believe him. So when Peter arranged dinner at an expensive restaurant in Victoria Island so that his mother could finally meet Precious, Evelyn went with an open mind. The evening started perfectly. Precious arrived wearing an elegant dress. She greeted Evelyn respectfully. "Good evening, Ma." Evelyn smiled. "Good evening, my dear." Precious sat beside Peter. Throughout dinner, she was charming. She laughed at Evelyn's jokes. She asked questions about Peter's childhood. She complimented Evelyn. She even told her how grateful she was for raising such a wonderful man. Peter looked delighted. At one point, he smiled at his mother. "Mom, you're staring." Evelyn smiled. "I'm admiring her." Precious laughed. "I hope I'm passing the inspection, Ma." Peter groaned playfully. "Precious, don't encourage her." They all laughed. For most mothers, the dinner would have been perfect. But Evelyn noticed something. Precious seemed very careful. Every answer was perfect. Every smile appeared at exactly the right moment. Every compliment sounded rehearsed. Maybe Evelyn was simply being protective. She reminded herself of that. After all, this was the woman her son loved. She didn't want to become the kind of mother who believed no woman was good enough for her son, so she ignored the feeling. Until 3 days later, Peter invited his mother and Precious to lunch at a restaurant in Ikoyi. During the meal, a young waiter approached their table carrying drinks. As he placed one of the glasses down, a few drops of water accidentally splashed near Precious's handbag. The waiter immediately apologized. I'm very sorry, Ma. Precious's expression changed. Are you blind? The waiter froze. Peter looked at her. Precious. Immediately, her expression softened. Oh, sorry. That came out harsh. I just got scared because my bag is there. The waiter apologized again. No problem, Ma. He cleaned the table and walked away. Peter continued the conversation, but Evelyn had noticed the change. For one brief second, the sweet woman sitting beside her son had disappeared. A few minutes later, Peter's phone rang. He excused himself and walked outside. That was when the same waiter returned. Precious leaned toward him. Be careful next time. That bag costs more than your salary for 1 year. The young man lowered his eyes. I'm sorry, Ma. Evelyn heard everything. Precious didn't realize it. When Peter returned, Precious became sweet again. Evelyn said nothing. But that night, she called her closest friend, Gloria. I don't trust her. Gloria laughed. You don't trust any woman around Peter. That's not true, Evelyn. Fine. Maybe I'm protective. Very protective. But there's something about Precious. Evelyn explained what had happened at the restaurant. Gloria listened. Maybe she had a bad moment. That's what I'm trying to tell myself. Then tell yourself and leave the girl alone. Evelyn laughed, but something Gloria had once told her came back to her mind. Years earlier, Gloria had said that if you wanted to know someone's true character, you shouldn't only watch how they treated powerful people. You should watch how they treated people they believed they didn't need. Evelyn couldn't stop thinking about those words. Then an opportunity presented itself. Peter's house was undergoing renovations. He informed his mother that he and Precious would temporarily stay at the Eze family's Lekki mansion for about 2 weeks. The property belonged to Evelyn, but Peter often used it whenever he needed somewhere to stay. Their regular housekeeper had traveled for her sister's wedding. Peter casually mentioned that they might need someone temporarily. That was when Evelyn had the idea. It was ridiculous, it was dramatic, and Gloria nearly screamed when she heard it. You want to do what? I want to become the housekeeper. Gloria stared at her. Have you lost your mind? I want to see how Precious treats someone she believes has nothing. Evelyn, you're 61 years old. Exactly. Nobody will suspect me. Your own son will recognize you. Not after I'm finished. Gloria shook her head. This is madness. Maybe. And if Peter discovers what you're doing, then I'll deal with it. Gloria sighed. Rich people truly have too much free time. But Evelyn had already made up her mind. She hired a professional makeup artist under strict confidentiality. On the morning Peter and Precious were scheduled to move into the Lekki mansion, Evelyn sat before a mirror. Her elegant wig disappeared. Her expensive jewelry was removed. Subtle makeup made her face look older and more tired. Large glasses covered part of her face. She wore a faded brown dress, flat slippers, and an old headscarf. When Gloria saw her, she covered her mouth. Oh my God. What? You look like someone's village auntie. Evelyn smiled. Perfect. And what is your name? Mama Grace. Gloria burst out laughing. Mama Grace. What's wrong with Mama Grace? Nothing. It suits you. That afternoon, Peter received a phone call from his mother. Evelyn deliberately changed her voice. Peter, something came up. I have to travel to Enugu. When? Today. For how long? Maybe 2 weeks. But Precious and I are moving into the Lekki house. I know. I've arranged a temporary housekeeper. Peter sighed with relief. Thank you. Her name is Mama Grace. Okay. And Peter? Yes, Mum. Treat her well. Peter laughed. Mum, you know me. Evelyn smiled. I know. A few hours later, Mama Grace arrived at the Lekki mansion. Peter opened the door. Good afternoon, Ma. Evelyn almost smiled. Even when her son believed she was a housekeeper, he still addressed her respectfully. Good afternoon, sir. You must be Mama Grace. Yes, sir. Please come in. Peter took her bag. Then Precious appeared at the top of the staircase. Baby, who's that? The temporary housekeeper my mom arranged. Precious slowly looked Evelyn up and down. Okay. Peter showed Evelyn around the house. You'll use the room downstairs. You don't need to wake up ridiculously early. Just keep the common areas clean and help with meals whenever you can. Yes, sir. And if you need anything, please tell me. Precious smiled. Peter, she's not a guest. Peter laughed. I know. I'm just explaining things. That's how my mother trained me. Evelyn lowered her head to hide her smile. That first evening, Precious behaved perfectly. She thanked Evelyn after dinner. The food was nice, Mama Grace. Thank you, Ma. Evelyn went to bed wondering whether she had misjudged her. Maybe the restaurant incident really had been one bad moment. The following morning answered that question. Peter left for work at 8. At 8:20, Precious entered the kitchen. Mama Grace. Yes, Ma. Come. Evelyn followed her into the living room. Precious pointed at the glass coffee table. What's that? Evelyn looked closely. There was a small fingerprint. I cleaned it this morning. Does that look clean to you? I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. Do your job. Evelyn stared at her. Precious pointed toward the table. Clean it. Evelyn wiped it. Not with that cloth. That's for the kitchen. Okay. Precious looked at her. Okay? Evelyn remained silent. When I tell you something, you say yes, Ma. Evelyn slowly nodded. Yes, Ma. Good. That was the beginning. By midday, Precious had given her more than a dozen unnecessary tasks. Wash the balcony, clean her shoes, iron her dresses, rearrange her wardrobe, change the bed sheets, clean a bathroom that had already been cleaned, prepare lunch, take out the rubbish. Then clean the kitchen again. Around 2 o'clock, Evelyn finally sat down. 5 minutes later, Precious walked in. Why are you sitting? I've finished everything. There's always something to do. Evelyn looked at her. Precious folded her arms. Peter's mother said you're being paid, right? Yes. Then work. That evening, Peter returned. Precious ran toward him. Baby, Evelyn watched from the kitchen. Precious wrapped her arms around him. How was work? Stressful. Aw, sorry, baby. Peter kissed her forehead. Then he looked toward Evelyn. Mama Grace, hope Precious didn't stress you today? Precious laughed. Me? I'm an angel. Evelyn looked at her. Their eyes met. Evelyn smiled. She is very good, sir. Precious smiled back. But Evelyn could see the warning in her eyes. The next few days became worse. Precious never shouted when Peter was home. She was too clever for that. Whenever Peter was around, she said please. She said thank you. Sometimes she even offered Evelyn food. But the moment Peter left, everything changed. Mama Grace became something Precious could command. One afternoon, Evelyn deliberately dropped a plate in the kitchen. It shattered. Precious rushed downstairs. What happened? It slipped. Precious stared at the broken pieces. Do you know how much those plates cost? No, Ma. Of course you don't. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't replace it. I can pay. Precious laughed. You? Evelyn looked up. Precious shook her head. You probably don't earn enough in 3 months to replace one plate. Evelyn said nothing. Precious continued. That's the problem with people like you. You don't respect expensive things because you've never owned anything valuable. Evelyn stopped picking up the pieces. What kind of people, Ma? Precious looked at her. Poor people. The word hung in the kitchen. Evelyn slowly stood. Precious pointed at the floor. Clean it. Then she walked away. That night, Evelyn almost ended the test. She called Gloria. I've seen enough. I told you, she's worse than I thought. Then stop this and tell Peter. Tomorrow. But the following day brought another discovery. Evelyn was cleaning the living room when she found an envelope underneath the sofa. Inside was a bank withdrawal receipt, 3 million naira. Before she could examine it properly, Precious came downstairs. The moment Precious saw the envelope, panic flashed across her face. Where did you get that? Under the sofa. Precious snatched it. You opened it? I thought it was rubbish. You went through my things. No. Listen to me carefully, Mama Grace. Never touch anything that belongs to me. I didn't know it belonged to you. You don't need to know. Just don't touch. Evelyn watched her walk away. Something was wrong. Later that afternoon, Precious received a phone call. She stepped onto the balcony. Evelyn was cleaning nearby. Precious lowered her voice. I told you I'll get it. There was a pause. Stop calling me. Another pause. Once we're married, everything changes. Evelyn stopped cleaning. Precious continued. Peter doesn't even know the full extent of what his family owns. Evelyn slowly turned. Precious had her back toward her. His mother is old. Eventually everything goes to him. Evelyn's eyes narrowed. No, I haven't seen the documents yet. Another pause. Just give me time. Precious ended the call. Then she turned and saw Evelyn. How long have you been standing there? I was cleaning. Did you hear anything? No, Ma. Precious stared at her. Good. She walked inside. Evelyn's heart was beating faster. This wasn't simply about bad manners anymore. Precious was hiding something. That evening, Evelyn called Gloria. I need your help. What happened? Evelyn explained the phone call. Gloria became serious. Tell Peter immediately. Not yet. Why? Because I need to understand what she's planning. The following morning, Precious told Peter she had a client meeting in Victoria Island. Peter left for work. 20 minutes later, Precious left. Evelyn quickly removed her disguise. Gloria was waiting outside in her car. They followed Precious. She entered a quiet cafe. A man was already waiting. Precious hugged him and sat down. Evelyn and Gloria chose a table far enough away not to be noticed. They couldn't hear everything, but they heard enough. 3 million won't solve everything, the man told Precious. I know. When is Peter proposing? Soon. You've been saying soon. He will. And the property? I'm working on it. The man leaned closer. Precious, you owe people serious money. Evelyn looked at Gloria. So that was it. Debt. The man continued. If Peter discovers everything before marriage, what happens? He won't. You're sure? Precious smiled. Peter loves me. Then she said something Evelyn would never forget. Once we're married, his money becomes our money. Gloria stared at Evelyn. Precious continued, and eventually his mother's assets become family assets too. Evelyn stood. Let's go. She had heard enough. That evening, Peter called his mother. Mom, where are you? Still in Enugu. I need you back tomorrow. Why? Peter laughed. I'm proposing. Evelyn closed her eyes. Tomorrow. Yes. Peter, we need to talk. Mom, please. This is important. I know you don't completely trust Precious. Peter, but I love her. Evelyn became silent. Please don't ruin this for me. The call ended. Evelyn sat still. Gloria looked at her. Tell him everything. He won't listen. Then let him see it himself. The following afternoon, Peter decorated the Lekki mansion. Flowers filled the living room. Candles lined the tables. Photographs of Peter and Precious were arranged around the room. He had planned everything. That evening, He would ask Precious to marry him. Evelyn remained disguised as Mama Grace. Peter left briefly to collect the engagement ring from his office. Precious came downstairs, wearing a beautiful red dress. When she saw the decorations, she covered her mouth. Oh my God. For the first time, Evelyn saw genuine emotion in her eyes. Precious looked around. Where's Peter? He went out. Then Precious looked at Evelyn. Why are you still here? Sir Peter asked me to finish preparing everything. You're finished. I still need to. I said you're finished. Evelyn stared at her. Precious opened her handbag and removed 10,000 naira. Take. What's that? Your tip. I don't need it. Precious laughed. You people are funny. You'll complain there's no money, but when somebody gives you money, you start forming pride. I said I don't need it. Precious's expression hardened. Don't raise your voice at me. I didn't. You did. She stepped closer. Do you know who I am about to become? Evelyn looked around the decorated room. Who? The woman of this house. Evelyn almost laughed. Precious continued. And when I become Peter's wife, things are going to change. How? First of all, his mother has too much influence over him. Evelyn's jaw tightened. She seems like a good woman. You've met her. No, then don't talk about things you don't understand. Maybe she's protecting her son. Precious rolled her eyes. From what? Happiness. She walked toward the mirror and adjusted her hair. Women like her don't know when to release their sons. Evelyn remained silent. Precious continued. Peter is too soft. His mother made him that way. Something inside Evelyn snapped. My son is not soft. Silence. Precious slowly turned. What did you say? Evelyn realized what she had said, but she didn't care anymore. Precious stepped closer. Your son? Evelyn looked at her. Then she slowly removed her glasses. Precious frowned. Evelyn untied the headscarf. Precious's expression changed. No. Evelyn wiped part of the aging makeup from her face. Precious stepped backward. No. Evelyn removed the wig. Precious's mouth fell open. Mummy? Evelyn stared directly into her eyes. Don't call me that. Precious's hands began trembling. Mrs. Eze. But surprised? Ma, I can explain. Explain what? Precious looked toward the door. Does Peter know? No. Relief briefly crossed her face. Evelyn noticed it. Interesting. Ma, please. I know how this looks. How does it look? I was stressed. For 2 weeks? Precious said nothing. You insulted me because you thought I was poor. I'm sorry you walked me like an animal because you thought I was a maid. I'm sorry. You said people like me couldn't understand valuable things. Precious began crying. I made a mistake. A mistake. Evelyn stepped closer. What about the 3 million naira? Precious froze. What about the man at the cafe? Precious's face lost color. You followed me. How much do you owe? Silence. How much, Precious? Her voice became weak. 27 million naira. Evelyn stared at her. Does Peter know? No. Were you going to tell him before marrying him? I was going to tell him eventually. Eventually? Precious began crying. Ma, I love Peter. Do you? Yes. Or do you love what Peter can do for you? That's not true. His money? No. His properties? No. The Eze family assets you were discussing at that cafe? Precious froze. I love Peter. Then a voice came from behind them. Do you? Both women turned. Peter was standing near the entrance. The engagement ring was in his hand. Precious's face collapsed. Peter. He stared at his mother first. Mom? Evelyn said nothing. Peter looked at the faded dress, the headscarf, the makeup, then at Precious. What's going on? Precious rushed toward him. Baby, please, let me explain. Peter stepped backward. Don't touch me. She stopped. Peter looked at his mother. Your Mama Grace? Evelyn nodded. Yes. Peter stared at her in disbelief. You were here this entire time? Yes. Why? Because I needed to know who Precious was when she thought nobody important was watching. Peter's jaw tightened. You lied to me. I did. Mom, I know you're angry, and you have every right to be angry with me. But before you say anything else, ask your fiancée how she treated Mama Grace. Peter slowly looked at Precious. Precious shook her head. Peter, your mother set me up. Did she? Yes. Precious pointed toward Evelyn. She came here pretending to be someone else. She was testing me. She wanted me to fail. Peter looked at his mother, then back at Precious. Did she force you to insult her? Precious became quiet. Did she force you to call poor people careless? Silence. Did she force you to hide 27 million naira in debt from me? Precious began crying. Peter, I was scared. You asked me to buy a house in your name. It was for security. Security from what? She couldn't answer. Peter's eyes became wet. I would have helped you. Precious looked up. What? If you had told me you were in trouble, I would have helped you. Peter looked at the engagement ring in his hand. Do you know what this is? Precious began sobbing. Peter, I was going to ask you to marry me tonight. Precious covered her mouth. I had everything planned. Flowers, dinner, our families, everything. He stared at the ring, but instead, I came home and discovered that I don't even know the woman I was about to marry. Precious moved toward him. Please. Peter stepped back. No, I love you. No. Peter, he raised his voice. I said no. The room became silent. Peter pointed toward his mother. You thought she was a maid. Precious said nothing. You thought she had no money. Silence. You thought she had no influence. Precious lowered her head. So you decided she didn't deserve respect. Precious cried. I'm sorry. Peter shook his head. You're not sorry because of what you did. You're sorry because you discovered who she is. Precious stared at him. If Mama Grace had really been a poor woman, would you be apologizing right now? Precious couldn't answer. Peter nodded slowly. Exactly. Precious fell to her knees. Please, Peter. Get up. Please don't do this. Get up, Precious. She continued crying. I can change. Peter looked away. That's no longer my concern. Precious grabbed his hand. He pulled it away. Then Peter looked at the engagement ring again. For several seconds, nobody moved. He closed the box. Precious stared at it. Peter slipped it back into his pocket. You were supposed to become my fiancé tonight. Precious sobbed. Instead, tonight is the last night you will ever enter this house. Precious froze. What? Peter pointed toward the staircase. Pack your things. Peter, pack your things and leave. Precious stood. You can't be serious. I'm completely serious. She turned toward Evelyn. This is what you wanted, isn't it? Evelyn remained calm. No, don't lie. Precious's sadness suddenly became anger. You never wanted me to marry him. Evelyn looked directly at her. I wanted my son to marry someone who would respect him, respect herself, and respect people who could do nothing for her. Precious laughed bitterly. So you dressed like a maid and tricked me. Yes, at least Evelyn didn't deny it. I deceived you about who I was. She stepped closer. But I never told you to be cruel. Precious went silent. I didn't put those insults in your mouth. Evelyn continued. I didn't create your debt. I didn't tell you to hide it from Peter. I didn't send you to that cafe. And I certainly didn't tell you to discuss what would happen to my assets after I died. Precious's face changed. Evelyn pointed toward the staircase. Go and pack your things. Precious looked at Peter. He didn't defend her. That hurt more than anything. She slowly walked upstairs. 20 minutes later, Precious returned with 2 suitcases. Her makeup had been ruined by tears. She stopped in the middle of the living room, the same room where she had expected Peter to place a ring on her finger. The flowers were still there. The candles were still burning. Their photographs were still arranged on the table. Precious looked at Peter. Please. Peter remained silent. Just give me one more chance. He shook his head. No. Precious looked toward Evelyn. For a moment, neither woman spoke. Then Precious said, You humiliated me. Evelyn's expression didn't change. No, Precious, you humiliated yourself. Precious swallowed. Evelyn continued, I only gave you an opportunity to show me who you were, and you did. Precious wiped her tears. She grabbed the handles of her suitcases. Peter walked toward the front door. He opened it. Precious stared at him. So this is really it. Peter looked at her. Yes. Precious stepped outside. Then she stopped. She turned around one last time. Peter? He didn't answer. The door closed. Outside, Precious stood with her luggage beside her. The security guard opened the main gate. She walked slowly toward it. Minutes earlier, she had believed she was about to become Mrs. Peter Eze. She had imagined the ring, the wedding, the mansion, the money, the status, the life. Now she was leaving with nothing except the bags she had arrived with. The gate closed behind her. Inside the mansion, Peter stood silently in the living room. Evelyn approached him. Peter. He didn't look at her. I'm sorry. He finally turned. For what? For lying to you. Peter remained silent. Evelyn continued. I should have trusted you enough to tell you my concerns. I shouldn't have entered your relationship this way. Peter looked around at the proposal decorations. I don't agree with what you did. I know. I'm angry with you. You have every right to be. Peter slowly removed the ring box from his pocket. He placed it on the table. But I'm grateful I found out tonight. Evelyn looked at him. Peter stared at the ring. Imagine if I had discovered this after marrying her. Evelyn said nothing. Peter shook his head. I was minutes away from putting that ring on her finger. His voice broke. I loved her, Mom. Evelyn walked toward him. I know. Peter looked at his mother. Was she really that bad to you? Evelyn hesitated. Peter noticed. Mom, she was worse when you weren't around. Peter closed his eyes. Evelyn placed a hand on his shoulder. I'm sorry. Peter looked toward the front door. Then he asked the question that had been troubling him. Why do people do that? Do what? Treat someone differently because they think they're poor. Evelyn thought for a moment. Because some people confuse money with value. Peter looked at her. Evelyn continued. Money can change where you live. It can change what you wear. It can change the car you drive. It can change the rooms you're invited into. But money doesn't decide how much respect a human being deserves. Peter looked down. Evelyn smiled sadly. Your father understood that. Peter looked up. Chief Martins Eze had once been a struggling young contractor with almost nothing. Before the houses, before the companies, before the millions. There had been years when he took buses to construction sites. Years when people ignored him because he didn't look important. Evelyn remembered those days clearly. Your father always told me that the easiest way to understand someone's character was to watch how they behaved around people who couldn't help them. Peter smiled faintly. That sounds like Dad. It does. They stood quietly. Then Peter looked at the brown dress his mother was still wearing. Despite everything, he laughed. Evelyn frowned. What? Peter shook his head. I still can't believe this. Believe what? You became Mama Grace. Evelyn smiled. It worked. Peter stared at her. Don't be proud of yourself. I'm not, you look proud, maybe a little. Peter laughed again. For the first time that night, some of the pain lifted. Then his expression became serious. Promise me something. What? Never do this again. Evelyn raised her hand. I promise. No disguising yourself as my driver. Evelyn laughed. I promise. No pretending to be a cleaner. Okay. No security guard. Peter, I'm serious. Evelyn laughed. Fine. Never again. Peter nodded. Good. Outside the mansion, Precious sat in the back of a taxi. She stared through the window as the lights of Lekki passed. Her phone was filled with missed calls from creditors. 27 million naira. No Peter to rescue her. No Eze family fortune. No marriage. No mansion. For the first time, Precious had nowhere to hide from the consequences of her own choices. Back at the mansion, Evelyn walked toward the window. She watched the taxi disappear. Gloria called. Evelyn answered. Well, it's over. He knows everything. And Precious? Gone. Gloria became silent. Then she asked, Do you regret it? Evelyn looked at Peter. He was removing the photographs from the proposal table, one by one. Evelyn's heart hurt for him. Yes. Gloria sounded surprised. You regret exposing her? No. Evelyn watched her son. I regret that he had to be hurt before he could see the truth. She paused. But I don't regret that he saw it before marriage. Gloria understood. Sometimes the truth hurts. Evelyn nodded. Sometimes it saves you too. She ended the call. Peter picked up the final photograph. It showed him and Precious smiling together. For several seconds, he stared at it. Then he placed it face down. He picked up the engagement ring. Mom, yes? Tomorrow. Return this for me. Evelyn looked at the ring. Are you sure? Peter looked toward the closed front door. Completely. He handed it to her. Evelyn took it. There would be no second proposal, no reconciliation, no second chance. Precious had entered Peter's life, pretending to be someone she wasn't. She had believed that if she could impress the right people, nobody would care how she treated everyone else. But she had made one mistake. She had shown her true character to the one person she believed didn't matter, a maid. And that maid happened to be Mrs. Evelyn Eze, the woman whose son she wanted to marry, the woman whose house she wanted to control, and the woman whose wealth she had already started calculating before marriage. Precious thought poverty made Mama Grace powerless. Instead, Mama Grace became the reason everything Precious had planned collapsed. Because character does not reveal itself when we are standing before people we want to impress. It reveals itself when we believe nobody important is watching. It shows in how we speak to the waiter, how we address the cleaner, how we treat the driver, how we respond to the person whose clothes are cheaper than ours, and how we behave towards someone we believe can do absolutely nothing for us. Precious had spent months convincing Peter that she was kind. She had spent dinners convincing Evelyn that she was respectful, but it took only a few days with Mama Grace to reveal the truth. That night, Mrs. Evelyn Eze removed the faded brown dress. She took off the cheap headscarf. She washed away the makeup that had made her look older. And when she looked into the mirror, she saw herself again. But downstairs, on the table surrounded by dying flowers and burned down candles, sat an engagement ring that would never reach Precious's finger. Outside, the gates of the Eze mansion remained firmly closed, and Precious would never walk through them again.